We always wanted to do stuff simply. We have a really great guy on board the team as well, Julian. He worked at Apple directly with Johnny Ive.
You're also going to integrate a Visa debit card,
That's
a Visa
right, yeah.
payment card.
Yeah.
You can't go into debt with this card.
Not yet.
Not yet. Ooh.
The launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed.
Space Monkeys blasting off again with Birdo. He is working with Parity, who is assisting to make the new Polkadot consumer-facing app, which maybe by the time you're seeing this, it's already in your hand.
Fingers crossed.
We're here to discuss what it's all about, who it's for, and the future of consumer-facing apps on Polkadot. Birdo, welcome to the show.
Nice, thanks for having me. I'm very, very excited to be here in sunny Berlin.
Yes.
It's like the weather has turned it on beautifully. Couldn't ask for a better day.
I agree. Obviously, the skies parted for this important conversation. And it's not always this way, though, of course.
No, it's normally shit.
You're an immigrant to
That's
Berlin,
correct.
actually,
Yeah.
and previously in always sunny Australia.
Yes, where I was also an immigrant because I'm actually born in New Zealand. So
I see.
I'm just traveling through the countries.
What does home mean to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think now we still refer to home as Australia. I mean, I spent 16 years there.
Yeah.
So, we had the kids there. We bought our first house there. We bought a car there. That feels kind of like home. I guess it like anywhere you move over time, it transitions. You make new friends. So I would hope that this is home at some point.
You have a couple of young children who are in school.
Yeah.
Not to give too much away here.
Yeah.
But what's it like raising kids who are becoming more German?
I think more German, I think is good.
Yeah,
I think it's good.
nice.
I think it's, for us, it was important to have the kids learn a second language. I think in Australia and New Zealand, it's not monoculture because there are a lot of different cultures and communities there, but I think learning a second language is so important. And you speak mostly anyone in Europe and you're like, oh, you only speak 2 languages?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
I
totally.
thought you would speak 4 and you're like, oh shit. So I think that's part of it. I think I quite like we spoke about this kind of previously, the community aspect of living here in Berlin.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice. I think.
Yeah, super.
I'm 1.5 years in, right? Maybe I change my mind in the future, but
No, so far, so good.
so far so good, yeah.
All right, so you're working on this Polkadot app.
Yeah.
This app is built for...
Beginners, I think, ideally. But realistically as well, anyone could use it. You could be a Polkadot existing fan and use the product. It's okay.
Sure.
But I think the main target audience is for beginners, yeah.
And this is kind of a gap in the application landscape in Polkadot, would you say?
I would almost go one step further and to kind of say in general.
You mean for the whole industry?
Yeah, for crypto in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is changing for sure. And for example, more wallets have recently added, recently 6 months, have added cloud backup and cloud support.
Yeah.
But I think the way we are approaching the product and the premise is different. It is, it is not like a true Web3 wallet where you show the seed phrase as the first thing and you have to verify every transaction you sign and this kind of thing. I think we always talk about mass adoption for crypto and mass adoption for Web3 and mass adoption for Polkadot. And I think that if you're presenting these types of things to everyday people, you lose them.
Totally, yeah.
You lose them. If I was to give my brother or my sister who are my age, relatively good with technology, a crypto wallet, even Talisman, and said, hey, here it is, they'd be like, oh, this feels, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's too, the concepts are just too foreign for a normal person, I think.
I wonder, however, if you give this Polkadot app to a Web3 audience, they'll also,
maybe,
put their back up a little bit.
Maybe.
Because you're not grandstanding the whole decentralized.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Potentially, right? But this is the kind of gamble, right? The gamble is I think that the current number of people that are in Web3 is relatively stagnant. And if we want to break out of that, we need to do something different.
Yeah.
I think that's the gamble.
Totally. You mentioned Talisman there.
Yeah.
And just for people who are holding this app in their hand, just entering the Polkadot ecosystem, they may not know your history. You came from a really beautiful, actually, web extension.
Web extension, yeah.
I use it every day.
Me too.
You do, yeah. I think it's a lovely app.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For a multi-chain crypto app, excellent.
What were some of the qualities and some of your experiences that you brought from over there to what you're working on today?
So at Talisman, we always wanted to do stuff simply, but still have this kind of like power user persona in mind.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's really simple to stake your DOT, for example, but you can also choose the pool, and you can also like read a lot about it, and like you have this like using an application and you click settings, and then you see all the additional stuff. Or like for me, I'm a nerd. I play computer games. The first thing I do when I launch a new game is go to settings, and I look at, I'm like, adjust this, change this thing.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
That's what I do, right?
Okay.
I don't know if everyone does that.
No, right. Fair enough.
So I think like the concepts of Talisman was to make the interactions very simple, and I think that we have brought that through to also the Polkadot app, but without necessarily having this additional settings function where you can go and like, oh, in my staking I want to pick these validators or this kind of thing.
So your mind's really in user experience and the whole user flows.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about design at all? Because I think both the Polkadot app that's out or coming out and Talisman are so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I personally think about design a lot. I'm not a designer,
Right?
but I do really.
You like pretty things.
I like pretty things, and I really love design. We have a cool design shit that we find Telegram chat where we're always sending posters and products and these kind of like inspiration.
Yeah.
And I also think that we have a really great guy on board the team as well, a guy called Julian. And he worked at Apple for, I think, 10, 13 years, or like Butcher's intro. And he would be a really great guest as well, actually.
Yeah, that'd be
but
cool.
He worked directly with Johnny Ive, and he did a lot of interesting things at Apple. Worked on the, again, double check, but I think pretty sure he worked on the watch, he worked on the Vision Pro. I think he also worked on some sort of other products which were never announced and maybe will never be announced, but it's part of product development, right? The designs we had for the product back then were good, but I think not quite the level that it's not the level we ended up today. Like what we've ended up today is much better. These early concepts were a really good start in kind of design exploration, but we weren't quite there yet. And things take time. So that's why we also didn't ship it.
People who are holding the app today, if they're watching it after it's released or they're about to, they log on and what happens? They open the app and what happens?
So they don't even log on. And this is the thing that I think is really cool, right? So you download the app and we show you 4 things that you can do, right?
Oh.
It's like claim your identity, you can manage your own money, you can pay with crypto, and you can stake your crypto, right? Again, we use slightly different words. And then we take you to a screen where you can enter your name.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Is your name your identity?
That's right, yeah. But there's no logging on. There's no like authenticate with Google. There's no password. There's no PIN code. It's just, and then you're in.
Whoa. And then this identity, this isn't like an on-chain identity. This is like an in-app identity, yeah?
No, it's on-chain. It's on-chain.
Really?
So what we are doing is we are basically, we raised some referendum back in the day, last year, to have an on-chain identity or like an authority.
Sure.
And so we are paying for the user's transaction fee and for the on-chain identity.
Okay.
And so when you register it, it just feels like you're using a normal app. And in the background, we're creating an on-chain identity, registering it, paying all the costs for you, this kind of stuff. I mean, again, it's just like abstracting away technical complexity. Why should you have to pay money to create a username?
No,
it's not how it works.
Like,
it's not how it
yeah,
works.
Exactly, right.
So like, it costs some money, but we take that away.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the cost of acquiring the user.
For sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, I'm looking at this app. I have a name, and now what?
Now what? So now you can go to the wallet screen and have a look at the wallet. We only let you have 2 tokens.
Okay.
Again, for simplicity. So this is DOT and a digital dollar, which is currently USDC. And I think depending on other regions could be USDT, could be Holler, could be other tokens, right?
Sure.
But I think any stablecoin we would wrap up under this concept of digital dollar.
Yeah.
You can buy crypto. So we're working with an on-ramp provider called Meld, who I think is quite good. You can send funds, so I can send funds back and forth. And because you have an on-chain identity and it's on-chain, I can just start typing and it will find you, right?
Oh, cool.
So I can type JAY and it comes up and I'm like, okay, great, tap.
Super.
Which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I think having an address book of no one contacts is a good idea, but we already have a default on-chain address book just by registering a username.
Right.
And then the kind of big thing as well is in the US being able to pay with crypto. So you can go into a store from this list and kind of select the store, select the amount that you're purchasing, and then press pay and basically pay with DOT. What happens in the background, we're working with a company called Raise, who are big in the US, and they're a gift card provider. And so what happens behind the scenes is basically you send them DOT, they accept it or like see it on chain, and then generate a gift card and then send it back to the app, via API kind of thing. So in a couple of seconds from, pressing pay, you get this code and you can either scan it in the store or if you're shopping online, you copy paste it into the gift card field.
All that stuff happening in the background, obviously the user doesn't see or doesn't care about that.
No.
How long does that take? I mean, that sounds kind of intensive.
It is pretty quick. We have got it down, I think, quite significantly.
Okay.
When we did some testing earlier in the year, it was like 15 seconds and it was too long.
Yeah.
And so we've managed to kind of rework this scenario a little bit, and it's 1 or 2 seconds kind of thing. It depends a little bit on their environment, but I think 2 seconds is arguably on average the testing time. So it's quicker than, oh, where's my wallet? Pull it out, unzip it, pull out the card, tap it. It's the same, right?
So in the beginning, users are going to be able to pay with their crypto funds or their funds on the wallet, but only at select retailers.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it is select retailers, but I think the Raise catalog has about 1,000 stores, or 1,000 brands.
Sure.
In the US,
Starbucks, Home Depot,
for sure,
Walmart,
Nike, Adidas,
things like this. Okay.
Everyday things that you may want to spend. Yeah. I think it's probably less like the everyday coffee, but it's like the next level purchase.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
The weekly or the monthly kind of bigger spends you might want to do.
Right. You can't go to the cafe
unless your cafe
this.
Starbucks.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah.
Unless cafe Starbucks. Of course. And so out of those 1,000 brands, I think they have roughly around 1 million stores.
Wow.
So it is, yes, selected stores, but the range is quite large, I think. And they have a good mix, I think, of local and national, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And also to start, before we move on to the other payment option, Raise is only working in the US, right?
No.
No?
No. They are also in many other countries.
Okay.
And so as part of the expansion to other countries, we will also be looking at adding this in Europe, UK.
I see. Okay.
This kind of thing, yeah. Canada also, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But we're going to start just in the US.
Start in the US.
Yeah.
I think that we need to launch the product, test and learn. And then once we feel that we have some sort of product market fit, or we have happy people, then we can kind of progress further. Yeah.
Recent news at time of recording is you're also going to integrate a Visa debit card,
That's
a Visa
right,
payment card.
Yeah.
This is like a prepaid card. I think a lot of people are familiar with them now.
Yes, it is a little bit different. It's not prepaid as such. It's a non-custodial card, so it uses the balance on your wallet.
But I mean to say, you can't go into debt with this card.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not a credit card.
Not a credit card.
Yeah. Yes. Not yet. Ooh, interesting. Okay.
I think it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, sure. Of course. I guess we have the technology.
We have decentralized technology.
Yeah.
So it is possible.
So what's so special about this Visa card then? Yeah,
I mean, I think in looking at the market, we couldn't find any cards that were non-custodial. That we kind of wanted to work with. The MetaMask card launched early this year, and I think that was one of the first. I mean, the Gnosis card also, but I think this was one of the first cards that was actually non-custodial. And I think that having self-custody of your funds is super important.
Yeah,
and as a goal or something that we should always strive towards.
Sure.
And so with the launch of that, we got in touch with the team and we got to this position, right? I think that is an important part. I think the other important part is there's almost no fees. So there's no fee to get the card. There's no monthly fee. There's no minimum fees. Because it's non-custodial, you're not topping up the card. You just have to have the fees you have to have your funds in your wallet. So you're not getting charged like a 2% every time you want to put money onto the card or pull money off or this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the way the fees are charged is a small transaction fee at time of purchase.
Right.
So when you tap the card, there's a small transaction fee, which I also think is pretty fair because you're taking magic internet money and turning it into something
it's
in your hand.
It's actually very expensive to do this. I mean,
normally for sure, yeah. Even just I've been paid previously in USDC, right? And even just offboarding that through a central exchange.
Yeah, exactly.
I
think for a while I was doing like 1.5% 1% or something like that, 1.6% from my exchange. And only recently I figured out how to get it for like 0.6.
Yeah.
Which
It's
is
pretty
still painful though.
for sure. And then you just have money in fiat. You're like, okay.
Uh-huh.
Which is then custody of the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, paying exactly. Paying to give it to the bank.
Yeah,
What the
paying
hell?
to give it to the bank, like fuck.
Right.
So, I think this is in my opinion, a really awesome option for people that want to have self custody of their money and also be able to spend it in real life. And I think this is a great like bridge between the world that we live in and the real world.
So going back to this simple, beautiful app, I have a line for how much DOT I hold. I have a line for how much, what are you calling it?
USDC, digital dollar.
Digital dollar I hold.
Yeah.
Does the card just pull off from one of those or?
The most simple way that we could achieve the UI and the way we've designed it now is you kind of like, you do top up the card, you put money on the card.
Okay.
And behind the scenes, we would make it like a separate wallet address derived from the same seed.
Sure.
And so you put money into this account, which obviously you can just remove at any time. And I think that conceptually, that's kind of the best way to like split up for people using the product.
Yeah.
Like, I have some money here and some money here, and I have some money in Earn in the staking. Like this kind of like pockets or accounts concept is very similar in Web 2. But all of the neobanks, all of the banking I've ever used has this like, you have your home loan, you have your normal account, you have your credit card, and like it'll be probably a separate balance.
Okay,
but it's still your money, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When is this going to launch the Visa? Like in terms of?
I think the timeline on there is something like 8 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
I think from memory.
Okay.
From when it goes, when it is accepted.
So maybe like 2 months after the app launches, something like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Polkadot Community Foundation and team have already started kind of reviewing the contractuals and all this kind of stuff. So
Sure.
I think it'll be okay.
So my question is, once the Visa card is on the app, why would anybody be using the retail specific payment option? Why is that even in there? Why not just go straight to the Visa card?
Yeah, it is a good question. I think the app is an interesting kind of mix of true Web3 ethos and like changing what we can to make it interesting for everyday users.
Yeah.
And so I think the payment method we spoke about is quite interesting because you can just use it from starting your wallet. So from when you launch your wallet and you put in your username, that's all the information you need to provide to use all the features in the product. So
I don't need to give Visa my address and all this stuff.
If you want the payment card,
right,
you have to do KYC.
That's what I mean though. If I don't want to do that, if I don't want to deal with Visa, I could still use the card and still spend my crypto. Yeah,
for sure. And so I think having like at least these kind of two payment options is quite a good mix between the two. Yeah.
Right. And isn't there some cashback rewards or something?
Yeah, there's cashback for the current payment method that we have now, this kind of like gift card payment method. And that's also set by Raise, so they agree with the merchants, and they do. It's interesting because they actually also do promotions with the merchants on our behalf.
Okay.
And so they say, oh, actually now Uber is 9% cashback instead of 3% or whatever it is, right?
Sure.
So they're actively doing that on our behalf, which is awesome. And so we can leverage that for free essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are there going to be cashback rewards on the Visa card?
Why not?
Oh, really?
Why not?
Well,
Yeah.
where does that come from?
I think still in discussion, but something we're working out with like Circle and the provider.
Okay, I see.
I wouldn't imagine it would be huge, but I think if we can achieve even a 1%.
Yeah, exactly. That's
cashback,
competitive, right?
It's competitive, and it basically nets out any fees that you would pay.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So,
I guess kind of the bigger question here that I'm wondering is, this app is built for non-crypto users, but I'm trying to figure out why would they just stop using their bank's Visa card?
Yeah, for sure.
Like how are we going to actually get people to come over?
Yeah, it is an interesting question and something that we are also discussing. I think that there are many regions in the world that don't have the same luxuries or liberties as us here in Germany or in Canada. Yeah. And so I think that this product is probably best placed for them.
I'm glad you said so. I've felt this for a long time, like a super simple app just like this for South America.
Yeah.
Just not on Tron.
It's not on Tron.
Yeah.
I mean, and so the pros of using this over maybe even another Web3 app or product that they're using is that the fees on Polkadot are ultra low.
Yeah.
It's 100th% to send stablecoins. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
The superpower of a product like this is that we have the ecosystem behind it. And so we have the ecosystem to help promote it and help like rally around it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it also would be useful for people in Berlin or people in Canada or, I mean, I will use it.
Well, that's the people who are already in crypto, especially working in crypto, definitely going to use it.
For sure.
Definitely going to be spending on this visa.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we can look to replace, it's just my opinion, right? If we can look to replace the traditional banking as much as possible, there's more and more incentive for people to come and hold their money on chain on Polkadot, even potentially getting their salary paid into an account, which converts it to crypto, and then they have all their money in the app.
Totally.
Many people also want exposure to Ethereum or want exposure to Bitcoin for holding or speculation. And so I think making these things available through the app is also quite an interesting idea. Yeah.
Is there any roadmap to adding more tokens or some way where a user can agree to increase the complexity just a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, Ethereum, Bitcoin would. It
is something that we are discussing for sure. I personally think adding Bitcoin and Ethereum is positive.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And also I think the original mission of Polkadot was meant to be connector of all the chains and this multi-chain future, and so it's well, if that is true, then we should probably have more tokens than just DOT, I think. And Bitcoin and Ethereum at least have, and maybe even Solana, right, have big brand recognition that we can also help leverage, right?
Especially if they could choose okay, I want to add Bitcoin, they can search and now they have a little wallet. This would make a lot of sense
for sure. Or even being able to DCA into Bitcoin.
Oh, so now, add a little function. Yeah, that's so cool.
These kind of things make a lot of sense, right? And it's something I would like to do too, right? For me now, it's actually a little bit too hard to do that unless I have money on chain and I want to go and set it up. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that we can kind of add to push this future.
So what's been some of the challenges building this application? I mean, obviously you're building something that you're submitting to the app stores.
App Store is a big issue. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to harp on too much, but we're dealing with centralized entities that necessarily don't understand what we're doing or push back, or so we've had some messages back and forth between Apple.
Yeah, I bet they're pretty concerned about something like this.
I think that mostly Apple are concerned about getting their cut. That's the main thing. They're getting their cut. They're 30%.
Oh,
so Apple charge a 30% on any in-app transaction which is used in-app.
Yeah.
And so, luckily we are not party to that. It's not something that our product uses, but I think that's why their review process is very diligent. And they also want to make sure that there's no spam applications on the store and this kind of thing, right? Anyone could launch a Bitcoin product which actually is nefarious or does something bad to your funds, right?
Sure.
So they're also protecting against that. It's their brand recognition they're protecting against.
How about building this application from within Parity? I mean, we talked about how you were building with Talisman before. That was a small agile team.
Yeah.
Here you have kind of a much larger team, a lot of things going on. How about the challenges there?
I think the main thing that we have to realize is that we are doing this for the DAO, and it's through the Polkadot Community Foundation, right? So, we want to make sure, the Polkadot Community Foundation owns the app, they own the IP, and because of that, the token holders own the IP and own the product, which is pretty cool because I also think, fingers crossed, it's the first mobile app or product launched by a DAO.
Right.
One of the first, if not, and the payment card will also be, I think, the first payment card launched by a DAO. So
right, we didn't even get to this yet. You're actually working with what is it? A Cayman's organization, business
entity or business
entity,
organization,
corporation.
That's right.
Entity, which is funded by the Polkadot DAO.
Correct. Yeah,
and they're the owners of this app.
Correct.
Which means anybody who holds DOT is technically an
owner,
a shareholder of this.
Which is cool, right? And so if you take this concept to a lawyer, you say, "Hello, this is what they're doing." They go, interesting.
Interesting.
And there's not a lot of case law on DAOs in general, right? There's been a couple of suits that have been raised DAO and another one that I can't remember offhand. But there's not a lot of case law around DAOs and this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that some of the trickiness or complexity comes from also managing this situation, right? We want to make sure it's a good product. We want to make sure the brand is protected. We want to make sure the token holders are aligned and interested in this kind of thing, right? So it's a lot more complex than just a small company of 6 launching a product.
Yeah,
it's
no
way
doubt.
more complex. Yeah.
That's so cool though. So
Yeah.
I can download the app, put in my name, get some DOT. And
Yeah.
not only do I own my own funds, but I also own a piece of the app
Yeah.
that I'm using.
Yeah, that's
Sweet.
cool. And so I think one of the interesting things is with the payment card, there will be this transaction fee that we spoke about is getting split between half to the provider and half to the PCF. And so the PCF will earn some revenue through the card, so that more it's used, the more the PCF can have a bank of funds to do stuff with, right?
Oh,
and so
I see. So it's
idea,
partially, that's
the
cool.
idea
Okay.
is that there should, over time, if there's volume, that they should become more and more self-reliant. This is the idea, right?
That's awesome.
I think that any product building in this kind of space where there's like free money available should have some sort of path to self-sustainability. This is my perception.
Beautiful.
I know it doesn't always work, right? But I think either someone has to pay for anything.
Yeah.
It's the end user, it's the investors, it's the DAO. It's like someone has to pay because nothing is for free. At a level of quality, right? People hack together little things and vibe code stuff, like that's for free, sure. But I think if you want quality and you want expertise, it's like the triangle, right? Like that's not free.
Somebody has to pay.
Somebody has to pay.
You might as well do it beautifully with a self-custody solution in your hand.
I think so.
Beautiful.
I think so.
Birdo, thanks for all this awesome work. It's really exciting. Can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm going to watch this back, hopefully, with it in my hand.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, thanks for all your great work and for coming on the show.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.